Hello Hunter, and welcome back to my walkthrough of Monster Hunter World. Before we do anything, I'm going to go up to the Gathering Hub really quick. Connected my PlayStation to the internet. Pretty
Hey,
cool.
partner.
See that message there? She said she's putting on a costume and she's put one on my pig as well. Do something really quick. Why don't you see this? Well, that's cute as fluff, so. I couldn't eat all that in a week. So yeah, whenever you come up here during these festivals, they have all this. And you get special little platters. I remember in the winter one, you got like a fondue, like a cheese fondue kind of pot that you dip stuff into. And the anniversary one, there was like a big cake and marshmallows covered in chocolate. It's pretty cool. Anyway, going back down. Before we get started, got some people who want to talk to us. Oops.
Ha. Thank you.
Also this guy.
Good to see you. Good luck.
Right? We'll do that later. On in this episode, probably. Anyway, before we get going, just gonna show you I got the Baroth coil for muck resistance. And of course, I have my charge blade on top of that. Put Slugger back on. Because this charge blade has an impact file, and that means it can do KO damage pretty easily. Alright, what's saying there, lucky vouchers? If you use one by toggling triangle, you'll gain more money and more rewards. That's basically it.
Okay, let's look for the scholar. He must have left some kind of trail.
Before I do that, I'm gonna make a steak and eat it.
like a Baroth?
God, don't let him find me. Don't let him find me. Oh, I saw it. No, the Jyuratodus. That didn't kill the Baroth. It was
Jyuratodus. Jyuratodus, Piscine Wyvern. A large piscine wyvern that inhabits the swamps of the Wildspire Waste. It uses mud to capture prey, and it's known to battle Baroth over territory. It's nearly impossible to fight a Jyuratodus in its swampy home. Coerce it to land, and then use water element weapons or your slinger to slowly chip away its hardened mud armor. It's definitely annoying to fight this fish in the water, so what it means is that there's places in the water to stand where you can move more easily. As Jyuratodus swims through the mud, it will temporarily create places to stand. You'll see what I mean during the fight. This thing's main gimmick is that it will shoot these water balls from its mouth. If they hit you, you will gain the Water Blight debuff, which will greatly slow your stamina recovery. You can get rid of Water Blight with a Nullberry. If a water ball doesn't hit you and instead lands on the ground, it will create a giant ball of mud that will trap you if you touch it, just like in the Baroth fight. But these are a little bit harder to avoid, so be careful about this. To get out of the mud ball, you'll either have to slowly trudge your way out or use a dodge roll. Dodging out of a mud ball is the fastest way to get out, but it drains all of your stamina. One of Jyuratodus' other big moves is it will burrow under the mud and launch itself out at you. If you see it burrow down, there will be ripples in the water telling you where it is. If the ripples move towards you, then it's targeting you. It will do a wind-up animation before attacking, meaning it will briefly swim up to the surface, then down again, before launching itself at you from underneath. This attack is very, very predictable and is only really a threat if you're stuck in mud. What it says about washing the mud off is a bit pointless in my opinion because Jyuratodus will eventually coat itself in mud again, and will do so several times. When it does, it will do this swimming animation where it will swim around in place for several seconds. If you get too close to it, then it will trip you, but if you're far enough away, you can get some really good hits on it when it does this animation. Weak spots are the head and tail. Its elemental weaknesses change just like Baroth, water when covered in mud, thunder when clean. But since we don't have access to any of that this early in the game, I'd like to direct you to its weakness to stun. This thing gets knocked out very easily, so any weapon that can knock out a monster is going to have an advantage. This is why I'm bringing a charge blade with impact files. The impact files can stun it easily, while the long reach of the axe mode allows me to get huge hits on this fish while it's coating itself in mud. But if you don't want to bring a weapon that does KO damage, then there is an alternative way. And I think I mentioned this while fighting it, but may as well mention it here. As you fight Jyuratodus, slinger ammo will drop. More specifically, thorn pods will drop. Thorn pods latch onto the monster, and if you shoot a thorn pod onto its head and attack it, the thorn pod will explode and cause KO damage. The thorn pods will appear as little glowing red items on the ground as you hunt, so if you see those, wait for an opportunity to pick one up, shoot it at Jyuratodus' face, and hit the thorn pod to knock it out.
New target. Hunt that Jyuratodus.
And that's why I got the muck resistance thing.
Proceed with caution.
Now I will have to take a picture from... Oh, hang on. Pity, that's easy to guard point. Slinger Thorn.
The power powerful type of slinger ammo. Attacking the part it's latched onto deals blunt damage.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, what I was going to say... Oh, that was a mistake. Hang on. Now, since I don't have the information on this guy, I will have to get it from future me, but I do know that it's very, very weak to stun damage, like being knocked out. And that's why I recommend picking up the Thorn Pod.
Look out! Your health is low. Keep your distance and use a potion.
Hang on. I'm getting lazy here. Alright, here we go. Now, if you don't have a weapon that actually does KO damage, hit it in the face with this Thorn Pod. Oh, hang on a sec. When it does that, of course I'm going to do this. Now, if you'll just turn around. Has a ton of knockout damage to it. And I gotta sharpen. Biggest problem with fighting this guy is that you have to fight him in all this mucky water, which you can hardly move in. So. Now, if you do get stuck in that mud, what you'll want to do is try to roll out of it, try to evade out of it, essentially. So, if you're wondering how to get out of that, that's how. You can also just slowly move through it, but you're a sitting duck in there. Oh, perfect. I'm gonna let it run away. One thing I will say is I remember several episodes ago I told you to absolutely switch your sheathing settings, like the sheath settings, to manual sheath. Remember when I said that? What auto sheath does is when you're out of combat and you're just standing there, you'll automatically sheath your weapon. But most of the time, you do not want that because when a monster is asleep, the first attack that hits it does double damage, right? Well, if you're just standing there with your weapon doing nothing out of combat, you're just going to put your weapon away, and it's annoying. So that's why you always want manual sheath. Better do this quick. Actually, you know what? Gaju's will come in handy. Gajou. I don't know how to pronounce their name. Catfish. Annoying catfish. That's their name. And I do mean they're annoying. On a few occasions, they actually caused me to faint. Gotta be just far enough away so that initial hit doesn't hit. There we go.
Shake this feeling that there's something really bad about those thorns.
Alright, sweet. Kind of a sloppy run on this guy, but I tend to get lazy with this fish. I've fought it so many times. It's the easiest Piscine wyvern to fight. I think it's only one of only two Piscine wyverns in this game. Just gather up as many tracks as I can. Oh, now it's turning into sunrise. That looks really strange. And obviously I decked out my cat in new duds, so. That looks weird. It looks like a graphical glitch.
Gather round, everyone. We're ready to begin. Thanks to you, we've made great strides towards understanding the tracks that have turned up across the continent. Our researchers have done some projections, and now we know where Zora Magdaros will go next. It's heading for the Great Ravine.
The Great Ravine? The huge valley out past the Wildspire?
Correct. So I have a proposition for all of you. I say we try and capture Zora once it gets there.
Have you gone mad?
Capture it? Hear me out. The ravine is the perfect terrain for staging such an event. We're not going to get a better chance than this.
If we don't take this opportunity, it could be a decade before the next opportunity presents itself. Maybe longer.
Is it even possible?
If I said it wasn't, would that stop you?
Let's give it a go. With the Fifth supporting us, our chances are as good as ever.
Then it's settled.
Before we send the hunters out for the capture, we need to secure Astera. An Anjanath has been active in the area. Not the kind of monster you toy around with. We'll need a plan for it.
You're right. Hunters, you have your next assignment. Take care of that Anjanath. But be careful. The Anjanath is a fearsome monster. One slip-up, and you're done.
Commander, if I may, I think I have a great idea. Hunter, I could use your help. Drop by later, if you will.
Another thing, that troubling report we received. Think you could...
Right.
Good, then. Let's get this show on the road. We have an Elder Dragon to capture. Everyone dismissed.
We should probably listen to what the Chief Botanist has to say before we do anything else.
Actually, before we do anything else, I'm going to do some side missions, but either way. Now, if you saw before, we took on the optional quest to capture a Kuliyaku. Okay. Since I hardly talked during this fight, I feel I should mention a few things about traps. First off, you can use traps simply as a means to deal damage rather than just using them to capture monsters. Some people will put down barrel bombs next to the traps to deal even more damage to the incapacitated monster. However, if you use the same kind of trap on the monster, it will become more resistant to it. For example, the second time you use a shock trap on the boss, it will take less time for it to escape. Some bosses are more susceptible to one trap more than the other. For example, a heavier boss may get caught in a pitfall trap for a much longer time than it would if it were in a shock trap. But a shock trap is faster to put down, while you must wait for the pitfall trap to deploy. Also, if you trap a monster while it's tired, it will stay in the trap for much longer than usual. So if you intend to trap it for some easy damage, then it may be best to wait until it's tired. As for capturing a monster, you can hit the monster with the trank bombs before using the trap as long as you don't wait too long. This is called pre-tranking. Lastly, traps don't work on Elder Dragons because they cannot be captured. Once the boss is weak, it'll try and limp away. But if you research enough tracks until the icon is glowing blue, then a skull will flash on the minimap when it's weak, as you can see in the video. Put down the trap, lure the boss into it, toss trank bombs on it, and there you have it. Simple enough. Okay, I think that about does it for this episode. Next time, we'll be touring the Wildspire Waste. Until then, happy hunting!